Hello everyone, we are going to start with an example on how to create a navigation drawer, which is this fancy menu that Android provides us to create this side menu. So we can click on each element and do some actions based on what we want. So to start, we are going to see how to declare it. You need to start by defining a drawer layout as a root element of your layout, and then you need to specify the element where you are going to be switching all your content. You are going to switch fragments here, so we are going to see it in a minute. So apart from the place where you are going to switch your content, you need to define a navigation view element. This is the menu by itself, and here you are going to define a header layout, and you can also specify the menu. So if you see the header layout, you will see that on the nav header main file you will find a linear layout with an image view and to text view. So please inspect this file and you are going to know that you are defining here the header of the navigation drawer, which is this one. We are going to go back to the project, and here you can see that here we are defining the menu by itself. So let's go and open it, and as you see here we have a menu element with groups and items inside of it. So if you inspect it, you will notice that we are also defining the menu by itself. So now we can proceed to inspect the place where we are going to put our content inside the application. That this is the one that will be covered by the drawer layout. So as you notice, we are putting it at the beginning. This is because Android uses the C index to decide which element is going on the top of the other. So we need to put the content first, and then we need to put the navigation view. So now let's go to the layout app bar main, and here what we are doing is we are inserting a coordinator layout as the root element of the content, because we want to have a toolbar. If we don't define this toolbar here, we would have only the content without the toolbar, so we won't be able to see this menu. So it's important that you add this toolbar to your project. So then here we have the frame layout that we are going to use to put our content. So that's why we named it content frame. So now we have our XML files ready to start with the code. Now that we can proceed with the code, we are going to inspect it and see what we need to configure. So the first thing that you need to look is the onCreate method, and here what we are doing is we are setting up the toolbar and the drawer layout. So by setting up the toolbar, we are putting it at the top of our activity, and then we are taking the drawer layout and synchronizing it with the tool. So this is so we can have synchronized the menu when it is open and closed. Then we are going to set the item selected listener. We are doing this because we need to handle what will happen when the user presses click on our menu. So to do that, we are implementing the navigation view on navigation item selected listener, that's where we are going to define what happens when the user clicks on each item. So when we implement this interface, we are going to have to implement on navigation item selected. So we're going to see it in a little bit time. So at the end of the onCreate method, we are defining a default fragment to display. We are doing this just to show something at the start of the application. So it is important that you know that we are overriding the onBackPress method. This is because if the drawer is open, we want to close it before closing the application. So that's why we are doing that. So now we can go and see what are we doing when the user presses each button. So we have some intents. This is being doing to show you just as an example. So we are opening the camera on the first button, we are showing the gallery on the second button, and we are switching from fragments on the next two buttons. We are also showing a toast. Please see this section, because what we are doing here is that we are showing a toast, but we also need to close the drawer because we are staying at the activity, so the drawer needs to be closed. And finally, if the user decides to click on close, we are finishing the application, so we are calling finish, and then we are closing the drawer. So as you know, here we have the code duplicated, so we can delete it here because it is being called. So let's delete it and it should work. So just know that we have a method here that we are using to switch the fragment. We are sending the fragment that we want to display, and here what we are doing is that we are replacing the content frame that we defined when we created our drawer layout. So if we open it, this is what we are replacing, and this is sizing by match parent and match parent, so it will replace all the layout there. So we are going to run our example and see what happened. So now that our example is up and running, as you note, we are displaying the fragment 1 as default, and we are opening the menu here and we're displaying the toolbar. Note that here is our header and our menu is complete. So in the first option we open the camera just as an example, and on the second one we are opening the gallery. We can go back and we are switching from fragments. Here we can open the fragment 1 and open the fragment 2, and we can see the change here. You can implement your own UI and do your test here. So let's try with the toast. It is displaying the toast and the menu is being closed, and finally we are going to close our application. So this is it. As you know, it is very simple to create the navigation drawer menu, and remember that you can also open it by sliding from left to right. So I hope you understand everything, and if you have any doubt, don't hesitate to post it on the forum.